When we subtract fractions, we use a very similar process to adding fractions. Some fractions can be subtracted mentally, and just say for argument's sake that you're planning to give your star netball player 3/4 of a netball game, but she didn't come to training, and so you say to her, listen, I'm going to take a half a game off you. What that means is you started at 3/4 and removed a half a game. That means that you're only going to give that star player a quarter of a game. So that one can be done mentally. Some can be subtracted because they have equal parts already. So this is 8 parts out of 9, and I remove 2 parts out of 9. What am I left with? I'm left with 6 parts out of 9. So again, this is like a cake, and the cake has 8 parts out of 9 still available, and someone comes along and takes 2 parts of those 9 parts. I'm left with 6 parts out of 9, or divide by 3, 2/3. But sometimes we can't do the subtraction because it's really difficult to visualize the fractions. So if you ask me what 5/6 take away a quarter is, my answer to you is I wouldn't have a clue. I don't know what the answer is. And what I have to do is use equivalent fractions, or the process of generating equivalent fractions, to make the fractions the same parts, or the same number of parts. Now this one here, remember, what we do to make the same number of parts is we find a lowest common multiple of 6 and 4. And many of you will be able to see it, but if you can't, there's no harm in actually generating the multiples like so. The lowest common multiple is going to be 12. So if I multiply that by 3 and that by 3, that by 2 and that by 2, I'm going to generate this equivalent statement, which is 10 parts out of 12 take away 3 parts out of 12 equals 7 parts out of 12. Now notice that I couldn't do that, but that is exactly the same as this. These two are exactly the same, and I can do this. And the reason for that is it's got the same number of parts, and that's the important thing. Other times there's a mix of strategies involved. This one here, what many students will do with this one here is leave them as mixed numbers. So if I multiply that by 4, and that by 3, that by 3, and that by 4, what we're going to get is 5 and 8/12. Take away 3 and 3/12. That's going to be 2 and 5/12. All right, where that process comes unstuck is with a problem like this. Let's see what's going to be the issue. So I've got 8 and 1/5 take away 4 and 3/4. Our common denominator, or lowest common multiple of 5 and 4, is going to be 20. So we've got 8 and 4 over 20 take away 4 and 15 on 20. And what happens is the students don't like this 4 take 15 thing, or alternatively, and this is really not what I'm after here, is they go 4 take away 15 you can't do, so I'm going to do 15 take away 4. So this one here is problematic. Now some of you will be able to visualize the answer just by thinking what's going to happen. So this is going to be 8 take away 4, which is 4, but I'm actually going to write down 3, because 15 removed from 4 will mean that I actually dip into the next set of fractions. So if I take 4 from that, it's going to be 11 left over, and another 11 is going to be 9 on 20. Now, I don't like doing it that way at all. So my first move on this will be to convert these to improper fractions. So 8 5s are 40 plus 1 is 41 on 5. Take away 4 4s are 16, 19 on 4. Now times 5 times 5 times 4 and times 4. Now these fractions are rather large, but feel free to move over here and do some quick calculations. But I can do these in my head. I think 4 times 41 is 164 over 20. Take away 19 times 5 is, that's going to be 95 over 20. That then equals 569 over 20, or 3 and 9 on 20 if you wanted to convert to a mixed fraction. So my opinion is even though the fractions get high, that's easier than trying to manipulate the numbers in your head like I did there. Now, I'm happy to do that and can do that, and some of you will be able to. But for the rest of you guys, you might like to convert to an improper first of all. So on to the exercise today, it's 4F. And again, don't forget to have a go at this problem here if you do finish that quickly.